Namaste, my name's Sachin, and I'm here with Suni Stanai. We're an Ayurvedic, wellness, holistic company that helps people balance their mind, body, and spirit. Today, I am here with such honor to introduce Dr. Jaisri Lambert, who is with the Ayurvedic Care Foundation and really helps people all around the world with her skills and knowledge and wisdom. And today, we're going to be talking about women, lifestyle, and menstruation and hormone balancing. So, furthermore, I'm going to pass the mic off to Jaishree and she's going to take it from here. Welcome, Jaishree.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Sachin. This is a very interesting topic. Let me first start by explaining the context of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the world's oldest holistic medical science. It's been around for thousands of years. So what we're going to discuss today is not at all new. It's no fad. It's no innovation. It's simply recalling the wisdom of our ancestors and elders. And yes, there's tremendous regard and respect within Ayurveda as a medical science for women as a whole because they are the vehicle for fertility and the progeny and the next generation. So this is highly valued in the Ayurveda medical model. And so women on the flow have certain guidelines that are to be respected. So flow days, according to the Ayurveda medical scriptures, means to take rest. Actually, there used to be a moon lodge, a red tent. There used to be ways in which women would retreat from society. We'll talk about that first and then look into what we could do today because it is so fast-paced and a little crazy that way, very disrespectful of women's flow days as compared to ancient times when it was highly revered as a spiritual time for the woman. Her aura's open. She's very how would I say, able to download the more subtle aspects of uh, life. She's very sensitive, very aware, and really in a heightened state of consciousness during the flow days. So flow days may be about maybe four on average. If a person has fewer than 4 days, we're concerned. If they have more than 4 days, maybe five, six, and up to 7 days, though there are normal cycles up to 7 days, but there's the influence of the Ayurveda, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata being more airy and etheric, Pitta being more fiery. So we find a lot of menstrual disorders among uh, Pitta women, which are uh, governed by the Ayurveda principle of hormones. So endocrine system, it's an entirely different model when we think about it. So hopefully we'll get back to that a little in a short while. And also that because of the need to rest and withdraw in order to replenish, because bleeding, of course, it's an excreta, it's a waste product if it's not used to gather the body of the child. So for the most part, it's not going to be there may be one, two conceptions in a lifetime that are going to produce issue or children. So there's most of the time the menstrual cycle is not going to conceive.
Right. So, when you talk about the moon lodge and when women are on their moon cycle, their period, and there's menstruation happening, what do you suggest a woman in the modern world, busy, working, could be a mother, just a leader in the world doing their things, is the best choice for them to take just during that week increment of time to incorporate into this busy lifestyle that they might have?
Well, we have to really honor the cycle. Otherwise, if we don't take rest, there will be consequences in later conceptions or menopausal period or the postmenopausal period of life. So these are very influential to the entire lifespan. So, yeah, not taking rest is a serious error because, first of all, there might be symptoms, there might be cramping, there might be pain, lethargy, emotional sensitivity. And if it's, how would I say, disrespected, and not dealt with a loving, respectful context, then consequences can occur, and those can be seen in the medical office, whether it's an Ayurveda medical office, whether it's a medical doctor's office. There are many, many ailments, maybe most in women, that are related to working through the menstrual flow days, which are meant for rest, and trying to deny or disconnect from the reality that this is a reproductive system that has its natural cycles. And if there is, overwork, then there's depletion of ojas, the immunity. Immunity declines.
Yeah, so if we look at ojas, for like the modern people who don't know ojas are, what are ojas?
Ojas is the immune system, the brightness of the aura, the integrity of the dhatu metabolism system, which means our anatomy and physiology. And so, yes, if digestion is off, we're grabbing food, we're not being attentive to having settled lunchtime, the main meal, having early bedtime. There's always those times of life where we can't rest,
Yeah.
such as when the baby's crying.
When you
Uh,
have a lot of work, you're working 9 to 5, you have other projects on the go, you have your side hustles. How do you reinforce that? For example, for your modern day woman who is a boss, working hard, creating creating worlds, doing so much, exercising, keeping yourself strong, moving, developing, doing more and more, as everyone should. What is your reinforcement to
yeah.
this to our sisters out there?
Well, I think it's a very important question, which means that, there has to be rest sufficient too. The idea of go, go, go. No, it's not within the psychobiology to be able to do that successfully. There has to be respect of the flow days and the specially intuitive energy that comes to the woman at that time. If she's continuing to do her gym exercise, that's not advised according to the ancient way of living to
Why?
preserve long life because she's meant to be resting. So if she's not resting, if she's doing other activities, then there's going to be depletion. So the depletion that results is part of the law of cause and effect. So cause and effect is defined as equal and inexorable, equal to all people and absolutely unavoidable. We cannot escape the law of cause and effect, no matter what the day-to-day decision is. So always when we know when the period's going to come ahead, approximately within a few days, then plan for whichever day is maybe the heaviest bleeding, maybe the most cramping. Take that day off and just respect the psychobiology.
I'm interested to know from your perspective and your personal experience as a woman, say being from your 20s to 30s to 40s and then 50s where menstruation came, did you ever find there was a time and experience where you're like, I need to make a shift or I am just going to basically, this is not going to work out for me?
Oh, well, absolutely. And the thing is, I never grew up with this concept of resting on the period, except that in my mother's day, she did teach me to not go to school. She did not require that I went to school when I first started menstruating at age 12. She encouraged me to stay home, lay about, etc. However, when I got into the workplace and there was no provision, and still today, there's no official provision except one day a month of a so-called sick day. We're not sick. We don't need it to recover from an illness, but we do need to invest in the fallow time of life, not doing anything, not living up to other people's requirements, just resting. So when Dr. Lad, my teacher of Ayurveda, my main mentor, he used to say, when people would ask again and again, what do you mean by rest? He would say, rest, read, relax. And he would have to explain it over and over and over again because it is foreign in our culture.
Right. So in this culture that we're in, North America, it's very much driven. We're doing leadership, we're creating, we have responsibilities. How can you reinforce that for these fellow listeners
Mm.
that you might not understand my lifestyle because of how much responsibility I actually have as a woman in this world that I need to do? So when I have those times that come up, it's just not possible.
Well, not possible according to who? How much do we take on that is beyond our capacity? The Ayurveda principle of working for livelihood extends to half the capacity. These are principles that have been overshadowed in today's world. So that's why we're finding them foreign and difficult to accept because me too, I didn't know as a young child about the idea of working to half capacity for livelihood. I also used to work till 10 o'clock at night, helping people, completely driven. And one of my teachers, Dr. Sukumaran from Kerala, he told me, no, this is an error. This is a misjudgment. This is false ego having you decide that you should continue to work when you don't have the energy for it, where you need to rest. You have denied rest, and there will be consequences. It's not that we get off scot-free just because we want to. We may do it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, but there will be consequences. It's not sustainable otherwise. This is why the ancients have recommended this, because otherwise it's not sustainable. There'll be some disease to the reproductive system, some hormonal imbalance, some way in which the woman can't cope because it's overloaded. You can't overload a circuit, it will blow.
Right. I think this is really relevant, especially in a patriarchal system that we live in, which is so driven by capitalism and just the mode to produce, produce. But with that respect, people have to survive. People have their own work, their ventures, their lifestyles. But then we look at the harmony and balance of self care, exercise, routine, diet, spiritual quality of living. So, what I want to know from you is if you're speaking to your clients or someone here today, and there's a woman who's listening, especially, what are three things that you can offer them as some kind of tips to help balance their menstruation period as they flow in this kind of present world?
Very good. I think this is a wonderful question. So, I think the three main things are the daily meditation, so that we're in touch with our own psychobiological cycles. And we have a sense of when we're just too tired to add one more task. Meditation is the main self-care measure, whether we're a working woman, whether we're self-employed. But our self-care must come first. If it doesn't, then we will come to imbalance and there will not be the same success as if there is a respect of it. So meditation first, rest on the menstrual flow days. And the third thing is for freshly prepared, home cooked food for lunch pretty much every day, most days that we can, and to eat out maybe from time to time. But the home cooked, fresh, local food will be best. So those three measures, this is the goal, is try to look after ourselves so that it does become sustainable, that we can still work into our 70s, that we can still enjoy rich family life, etc., without having obsessed on just one, maybe, as you say, male-driven example, which is really not the female ideal. The female ideal is cooperation. Surely we want to have the bank account increase, but not at the expense of your well-being.
Beautifully said. So to recap that, basically, meditation, resting on your cycle, and preparing for when that time is going to happen. So making your own little self-care plan. So it's like a spa day, which you should be every day. And then third, some healthy food and especially home cooked meal during lunch. Perfect. So on the note of menstruation and flow days, because I mentioned spa day should be every day, as the three tips you mentioned for women with menstruation when they're on it is meditation, home cooked meals, and during lunch mostly, and um, rest.
Take time for off exercise. And instead of having a massage, which is not the best time, contraindication, one of the contraindications of massage therapy in the ancient scriptures is being on the menstrual flow. I remember in my years of being a massage therapist, having a menstruating woman so exhausted from her lawyer's life, prominent lawyer's life. Uh, so I was young in the practice, so I relented and did the massage, but she felt like a train wreck after. There won't be the same benefit of, say, a massage treatment or a relaxation treatment. The person should rest at home quietly without stimulation.
Well, if you have women who are like, no, I got to do a bunch of stuff, I need some self-care for myself, I need to do something because their mind feels like they need to be doing something, what would you suggest that they do?
Shavasana. You know Shavasana, corpse
Yes,
pose. Yeah. So let them rest, completely rest, stillness. You'll be amazed. The compulsion to do is the thing to consider.
great. Now, when you talk about food, a lot of women tend to get depleted of iron. Now, for our women who eat meat, would you suggest, in the prairies here, when beef is very apparent, it's very nutritious. Would you suggest beef, bison, vegetarians, lentils, other forms of iron supplements?
Mhm. Well, it's very interesting that the plant-based program has been shown again and again to be the most supportive of longevity, but it depends. Of course, we have to see the properties of whichever animal was killed for the purpose of providing a food to somebody else, which causes more harm than harvesting the plants, which still cause harm, no doubt, but less harm in the consideration of the law of cause and effect. So for ahimsa, nonviolence, it would be better to take, yes, the lentils, um, certain grains, like it depends on the person's individual needs. Same as the herbs, that depends on the individual needs. So Ayurveda doesn't treat the disease, it treats the person with the problem.
Okay. So if we find a lot of our majority of people in the West eat meat, and women might go towards that, get a healthy, conscious butcher, farmer, and I can see you thinking maybe more vegetarian, but what kind of vegetables would be high in iron that you could give some pointers, maybe three simple iron-based, plant-based foods?
Well, certainly beets for one, currants for another, broccoli for another. These are all very high in bioavailable iron. Now, the substance of choice for a supplement in Ayurveda is called Loha Basma because it's pure calcium, pure iron. That is to say, it's made into a basma and alchemically prepared by incineration a number of times with purifying materials in between. So it's highly refined and assimilable and completely non-toxic when it's prepared properly. But the calcium, or I should say, the iron ferrous fumarate, for example, it can be constipating. This is the most common Western iron supplement, but it can be constipating, and constipation is again retrograde to allowing the flow to move downward. For example, using tampons will keep the flow from moving downwards. So there are various aspects of our modern life that are not conducive to long life. And indeed, many people do die by disease, unfortunately.
Okay. Well,
unavoidably.
I think everybody wants to say beautiful, strong, resilient, active, wholesome, happy, and just with grace, the best they can be in this world. And with that in mind, what's one word you wish to give our fellow viewers on that wisdom tip?
I think self with a capital S means the higher self, because a self, our lowered self with a lowercase s, will be interested in accomplishment, how we're seen, goals, etc. But the self with the capital S is very interested in the unified field, the purpose of life to incarnate the soul for self-realization. So that's my little word, self, with a capital S.
Could we also say that that self has to do with one person's individual authenticity?
Yes, very much. That is to say, to be true to ourselves does require introspection. What really is in our long-term best spiritual interest, and choosing that rather than the short-term gain or avoidance of problematic issues. We have to face things and find natural solutions, and nature always provides the holistic solution.
Beautiful. And with that word on holistic solutions, I just really wanted to thank you for your time
Oh,
and
my
being
pleasure.
present. If you'd like to learn more about Sunistane and what I do, Jaisri Lambert as well, you can visit my website at sunistane.com, Instagram, Sachin Sudra. I have plenty of videos, information. I'm also working out of an Ayurvedic um, clinic called The Modern Alchemist with TCM medicine and for treatments, classes, yoga, products from Ayurveda if you're looking for them, and just ways to help you out on your wellness journey. So thank you so much once again, Dr. Lambert, for being here with us. Namaste.
Thank you, Sachin. Namaste.